Hey guys, Musa here from Quantum Home Improvements and Solutions. Welcome to our live chat. And if it's your first time to our channel, it's great having you join us. And so today I've got with me Joseph Nakhoul, who's a physiotherapist, and I've got the infamous Chicken Nugget.
G'day guys, g'day. We look like brothers.
Pretty much.
Hey, Nugget, thanks for joining. But I want to say a special thank you to Mr. Nakhoul here. Not only did he help me through some very tough times, just in the last few months after I made the video with Eugene in the bathroom renovation, but I've got to know Joseph for probably about 8-9 months now. I think it's something like that, and he's a really nice guy. And so Joseph, it's the first time you're on a live chat. How do you feel?
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
and
let
the nerves settle.
So yeah. And just quickly, Joseph is a qualified physiotherapist, has his own practice. He has 2 locations, which I'll give later. But also, Joseph's doing a top-up degree. What is that degree? Can you just explain it?
I'm doing my master's in sports and exercise physiotherapy.
Yep.
So we really fill in all the gaps from our previous studies and enhance our knowledge and our skills. So
yeah.
Really trying to hone down on the nitty-gritty.
It is specialised though, isn't it? It's very specialised. They're doing sports physio
and exercise.
Yeah.
So it caters to both those young athletic populations and then your general population.
Hey, I've got to tell you, there's a group of guys that we do courses together and once a year, and every single year there's someone who wants to be a hero, live his youth, and pulls a muscle, damages something. So I've got to tell you, physios are not just for young people; it's for the heroes that still think they're young.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think a lot of us can relate to that. It's hard to understand or get used to getting old. But these 2 guys, they're much younger than me, that's for sure. Anyway, so it's great having you guys join us. It's the last live chat was at Christmas time where we had Louis and Nugget.
Time flies, flies.
So if you do see Nugget here looking at his phone, he's actually the message guy, and he's not being rude. It's not in his nature actually, but he's just going to read out some of the messages. I can see one there from Anthony English. Hey Anthony.
G'day Anthony.
Anthony's also a YouTuber, and he does technology videos on Zoom and a whole heap of other things. And he's also big on Amazon. He's an Amazon influencer and growing very, very well, let me tell you. Here's to you, Anthony.
Cheers.
And so what we're going to do today is talk about mainly physiotherapy, because we released a video back a little while ago on the back of my injury. So in June 2017, there goes, shows my age, 2017, I had a workplace injury where my disc ruptured and it compressed my nerve system. Now, I thought at the time it was just a muscle injury. I have never had a history of back problems, didn't know how to treat it, and I was very busy. I was finishing up on this company, with this company, and going back to my renovations business. And unfortunately, I let it go for 3.5 weeks. And by that time, I had foot drop, and I was in Nepean Hospital in emergency, and the doctor gave me the news: if you don't have a decompression right now, you'll have permanent bowel and bladder incontinence, and also you won't be able to walk anymore. You'll be paralyzed. And so I agreed to the operation instantly, and he operated as soon as he could, which was Dr. Davidson, who I believe now is in Melbourne. Beautiful guy, beautiful doctor. Thank you for saving my back and my life, really. And so that was a big life changer. And so for the next 3.5 years was a big learning curve. How was it going to exist? And I tried going back into the workplace after many months of physiotherapy. It took 2 years for my nerves to reconnect back into my legs fully. But unfortunately, I have what they call a residual nerve damage, which is called cauda equina syndrome. And Joseph and I were just talking about it. It's very rare. Is that correct?
It is very rare. So anyone with back pain, 95% of those, or 94% with back pain, come in with general back pain. So things that are just nothing serious. 5% have an actual, a disc protrusion or anything substantial, significant, and only 1% come in with a rare finding like yourself. So,
and what's interesting, and sorry to jump in there, Joseph, but I was told that I would not have to have another operation after having a laminectomy, which is basically where they take the back part of the spine out and go in with an arthroscope and just clean out the disc. and then decompress the nerve system. And so my nerve system, if it's about the thickness of a finger, roughly, I don't know how thick it is, it's got this big dent in it, and it's still there today. So my nerves were crushed. And I advise anyone, if you have this kind of condition where you have what they call a foot drop, where your foot doesn't move, so it starts off the lowest point of your feet and it goes all the way up until where you become paralyzed. And I was almost there. Both legs were gone, but the left leg was totally paralyzed. So I'd suggest within 48 hours you need to have a decompression, very urgent. I waited 3.5 weeks. So not realizing the intensity and also changing my job, needing an income. There was a lot of things impacting on this. It wasn't stupidity, it was calculated, and it was just a wrong thing to do. I should have went to the doctors and should have went from there on, and I did not. Big mistake. But then I was told I was never going to have another operation. Now, what happens when you cut your bones? There's a thing called arthritis, and you do have bone growing back. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's
I don't fully understand it, but I believe it grows back.
So, like when anyone breaks a bone,
Yep.
they get this really high activation of osteoblast.
Yep.
Bone
That
remodeling,
explains it. Yep.
But it overgrows,
Compensates, yep.
overgrows.
Yep.
So then it can close the spinal canal at times.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And so that's what happened to me, unfortunately. So after the operation, I had to have a second decompression, which is very rare. So I had 2 goes of cauda
Yeah.
and both times I deteriorated. So the second time I deteriorated worse than the first. And what's interesting is that the stenosis, which is what they call the growth, is that correct?
Yep.
The stenosis grew slowly. We saw it on MRIs with my doctor, Dr. Penner, very good friend of mine. We thought it was going to be okay. It'll stop growing because that's what it's supposed to do. But it didn't. It kept growing. And so when I was making I decided to YouTube as a career after 3.5 years of trying to invent myself. And so I worked from home with a number of issues, what I still have now through this, from the lower waist to my legs, I have issues. And so that includes problems going to the toilet, and I won't go into that. But things are very different for me these days. So I chose to become a YouTuber. And I knew from the first video that this is something I need to do. I had a lot of flack from my first video, no close-ups, I spoke too much, blah, 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 blah. But thank God for all those people that were kind enough to give me those comments because I improved my videos, and in time they became better and better, and I still expect them to get better. And thanks to my friend Anthony English, who's watching right now, who's been a prime helper in me becoming a better YouTuber. Now, also, I'm looking across the phone. I shouldn't be doing this, but I've just noticed my cousin Bulos has just joined us. So, Bulos, cheers.
Cheers. For those around the world, good evening, good afternoon.
And for you who watch this live chat later, especially in America, guys, thanks very much for your commitment to our channel, and I really do appreciate your comments, your sharing, and your likes. And I will probably go back to doing a morning live chat in the future, but it'll only be spasmodic, won't be regular, especially our beer tasting, which is usually around mid-year. So that'll be in the morning. So anyway, so I had to have a second operation. So I'm jumping the gun. I had to have a second operation. And so the stenosis was taken out, but I did something very stupid, which I mentioned on the video. I assumed, after many years of going to physio, land-based exercises, I found that hydrotherapy was the best thing for me because the water resistance, walking and exercise, was actually what helped the problem of muscle atrophy. So my muscles were deteriorating because I wasn't walking much, wasn't doing much. So in the water, in hydrotherapy, you've got to push yourself hard. You're pushing against the water, but the water it makes you more buoyant, and so it takes pressure off your spine. And so Joseph was in the pool with me and showed me how to improve on some of my exercises, because after the second operation I deteriorated, but then he also confirmed, and we'd already been working on it before the video,
Yep.
that I had to improve my strength because we found my right leg had become weaker than my left.
Yep.
Which was horrible because I had some incredible ripping, tearing cramps, and they were horrible. Where the point where my older daughter, was actually almost crying when she saw me go through it, and she'd be turning my toes back, trying to get me out of the pain, and then I'll be eating or taking salt, putting it in my hand and licking salt just to give me some relief. So thanks to Joseph, that has minimised. Okay, it still happens, but it minimised. It's what happens when you have cauda equina. Unfortunately, the signals come through, and they're real signals. But I'm going to just go the opposite direction, because on the video we talked about phantom pain. Is that correct? Can you tell me more about these phantom pains?
Yeah, so phantom pain is essentially your body's way of recognizing pain of the past, and it's residual from nerve pain. So your nerve at some point had a certain level of damage to it, and unfortunately some of that can't come back.
Yep.
And nerves are responsible for receiving messages from
So it goes both ways.
Yeah, both ways. So
yep.
It activates muscles and it receives sensory input.
Yep.
Which is feeling and touch and pain. Yep. So unfortunately, the pain pathways, when they become damaged, then there's no going back from that at times. And our body would always remember activities associated with pain. So anything that we're scared of or fearful of doing, our body automatically goes into that pain mode.
Yeah.
And then that phantom pain can come back.
But it's real pain, isn't it? We spoke about that on the video. It actually is real pain, because the nerve signals are actually saying there's pain right now, and you're actually feeling the pain as if you've just had another accident.
Yes, 100%. So it's as if like your nervous system in response to pain is heightened.
Heightened, yeah.
And it stays heightened.
Yep.
So to a normal person, that same input might be pain on a lesser scale.
Yep.
But for someone who's had a cord equine injury and has residual symptoms, it's a much grand scale and really heightened and really sensitive.
Yeah. Is it good to is it what's the word? Is it correct to say that if you do certain exercises, like you're getting me to do the bending exercise now because the doctor's told me not to bend. You've said no. There's no evidence that you don't bend, right? You do need to bend, and so I've become very stiff, and that's actually becoming a bit of an issue just in itself. So you have given me other exercises. Now, we haven't spoken privately about that yet, but I'll just tell you on camera that I've actually been struggling with those exercises, and yesterday and the day before I actually had a bit of an issue where I couldn't walk properly. I think I pushed it too hard, right? But whenever you push yourself hard with exercises, you've got to hold back for about 2 or 3 days and see is it permanent or not. And usually it's not permanent. It's just your body reacting to that phantom pain, right?
Exactly.
Now, if you do the exercises enough, you can actually teach your brain, am I wrong in saying you can teach your brain not to send so many signals? Yes. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
So that same input
I just worked that out, by the way.
Yeah, that same input can become desensitized.
Yep, okay.
So for those with cord equina syndrome, the more you focus on pain and avoiding land-based activities, the more pain is driven higher.
I thought so. Okay.
So the more we shift your focus from pain and avoiding activity to, okay, let's try activity. And let's think about function. So something that you might not have been able to do in the past, now you're able to do. That gives you a sense of assurance that, okay, I can improve. And I can make movement. And it's all a step in the right direction. It's all positivity at the end of the day.
Joseph, you're a lifesaver. I've said it too many times. You're a lifesaver. I don't think you're going to be able to help me past a certain point.
Of course.
But I'm just going to keep pursuing it and just see how far I can go. The pain is still real for me, but I have good and bad days, and it depends on how much I do for the day. And by the way, anyone who's got messages out there about anything really, but if you've got any messages, if you can relate to this in the future, if you want to write me a comment, I'm happy to answer them. If I don't know the answer, I can always ask Joseph. I do see him on a regular basis, so I can ask him the question and we can get back to you, or if it's urgent, I can message him. So now, George also, and this is, I'm not going to go too much into it because it is a private thing, but George also had 2 cases that I'm aware of where he had damage. First, back about 8 years ago, I think it was, where there was a fire incident, but then there's also the other incident. Can you explain them, George?
Yeah. So very similar. I'll probably touch on the most recent. The most recent was I had diagnosed pelvis floor dysfunction, so similar to the region, but towards the scrotum. I had pinching nerve, and that was predicated on me doing a lot of lifting at work. It was consistent lifting to the point where my body was telling me to slow it down, but I had to keep going with the workforce. Consequence of that is I just felt pinch towards the pelvis. So I did all the required physio, and what really at the end helped me was seeing going to the hydrotherapy pool. Yeah,
we talked about that. You were saying you're going to go back again.
Yep, I'm going to go back just because the mind tells me, as you mentioned before, the sensory side of it is I find not going on land, but simply on the hydro level, especially when it's really, really warm, so a good 33 degrees.
Yeah, that's right.
carrying all the floaties, the little gyms requirements, having all the accessories around you, doing all the arm, leg exercises, the lifting, the squats. It was fantastic. That was the game changer for me, the hydro.
Yeah.
The physio side, great, the legs exercise. But on 2016, unfortunately, yes, I did have some burns, and a lot of physio was required on the arm and the leg.
Yeah, but you had a lot of operations to do skin grafts and everything.
Yeah, so to get movement, so I've lost a lot of movement in the thumb region. So physio, I would say this, like, you wouldn't say it 20, 30 years ago, but, having, a doctor, a dentist, and a physio. You need them. Physio more now, because we don't really talk about physio. Is just becoming now...
I think it's been discovered that it's actually quite useful. And they're very basic exercises, but what they do, as far as I understand, is that they trigger a certain muscle, a muscle that is not functioning very well. They trigger it to get a little bit stronger, which gives more strength to other muscles.
Exactly.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, an example is your hamstring strength. I think it was 8 or a couple months ago, it was 12 kilos.
Yes.
And by doing your core exercises, doing your hamstring work, now it's up to like 28 or something, 30.
Yeah. I'm very happy about that.
So,
but the day we tested that, we did test it also on the day we made the video, which showed a strength. But then we did a test just recently, and I've got to be honest, I actually hurt myself doing it. It took a couple of days to walk properly, but I really wanted to push that little gadget to show that I had more strength. And so I probably pushed myself too hard. But anyway, it was great. It's fantastic. From 12 to almost 30. So that's fantastic. I'm really happy about that. So if you don't have much faith in physios, from my experience, I've got to tell you, you might want to give it a go. No one can force you to do that. I know in my early days, I was very stubborn. I didn't think much of them. But after, when your life is turned around and you really haven't got many other places to turn to and to go, you'll listen to anyone, and it's what's really funny about that anyone becomes really special, really important, because you should have listened to them probably years ago. They could have saved even my back. It could have saved, because it could have said you shouldn't be doing that. But I did it because I was instructed to, and I shouldn't have done it. And in actual fact, I put my resignation in before the event because it was too much lifting. But I stayed. If I had done physio prior, because I had shoulder operations, right? Because I had spurring on the rotary cuff, and they had to be cleaned up because I couldn't lift my hands up anymore. And I used to be in the blinds and awnings industry, installing my own products in my own business, and so I'd had torn the rotary the tendon in the rotary cuff, so I had to have operated on the shoulders. So that's when I was introduced to physio. So if I had known more back then, prior, I probably wouldn't have got myself into all this trouble.
Well, that, and also I think everyone should understand that strength training in a closed environment prepares you for work.
Yep.
Like work is very, it's unpredictable.
Yep.
You might be lifting 20 kilos.
It's your state of mind of your time too, right?
A day,
Yeah, but if you're lifting something, your state of mind, you're thinking about something completely different.
100%.
You're not going to lift it up properly.
Yeah, so if you're in the gym in a closed environment, you're thinking about how you're lifting, then it prepares you for the workplace. Yeah. And I think that's very important for anyone who hasn't had an injury.
Yeah.
I'll just say this really quickly. I've noticed now in the last 5-6 years, we have pre-workouts at work, stretching, which we never had 30 years ago, 20 years ago, even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Now it's mandatory for us as to get up, do the elbows, the arms, to stretch the toes, the ankles.
That's more for the warehouse guys?
More for the warehouse.
Yeah.
Because we're constantly moving. I just realised that it's a game changer.
Yeah.
Well, companies do that to cut back on premiums on workers' comp.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, because it reduces injuries. It reduces injuries that much that it's that effective.
Well, I had to go through workers' comp, and I've got to say, they are actually out there to help you. The work cover is actually out there to help you.
Yeah.
Okay, and for the employer, it's really important to listen to work cover, because they're trying to save you the torment of going through these kind of problems with employees. So it's really important to listen. So anyway, guys, we are now in Lent. I'm just going to change the subject quickly. We're now in Lent, and so we don't have a big spread on. We're just keeping it really basic. We're just only having water. This is not any kind of ouzo or anything. This is just plain water.
It's not adult.
Well, I don't know who drinks adult straight, being 60%, but anyway. So guys, please eat up. And so how's your Lent going, guys? Sorry, I asked George, how's your Lent going?
Yeah. I learned something today that you told, which is really good, because I used to take the approach of, do an absolute of a fast of a particular item. You made a good point, have moderation. And now that I probably will take that with me in certain aspects. So that's my Lenten. I might kind of take things where I went an absolute no to let's just moderate it.
Yeah.
So for you guys who don't know what Lent is, basically it's just preparation for Easter. And so as Jesus went into the desert for 40 days, Lent is kind of like going through the desert and just, sort of abstaining a little from something you don't like, something you like, and doing things that you don't like. And then you come out on the other end of it a bit more clear focused on what you're doing in life, and it helps you to focus on what's important in life instead of materialism, which is important to a degree, but also our relationships with our family, our connection with our Lord. There's a lot of things in it. So anyway, there's a long way to go. We're only a week and a half into it. I just want to get back now to just some of the things that we did on the video. So when we made that video, and I do apologise, I went back and watched that video today just to give me a refresher, and I was speaking so fast. Now, there was a reason for it. First of all, I take a medication called Lyrica. We need to talk about medication as well before we finish up. So I take a medication called Lyrica, and Lyrica is an agent to slow down messages from the brain. It's a nerve agent. I'm not sure if I'm explaining properly, but it reduces these signals.
Yep.
And so I take that only at night time. I'm supposed to take it day and night, and probably a larger volume, but I choose not to. My doctor is happy with the way I go with it. So I take only a small dose, but I'm very sensitive to medication at the same time. So what happens in the morning when we're making this video, and every other morning, is that I'm a little bit sluggish. My brain does not function properly. I've got to wake it up. And the only way I wake it up is have something that I have resisted my whole life doing. But in my older life, I drink coffee. And it's not me, but I'm drinking it because it's to stimulate my brain. So what happened is I drank a heap of coffee that morning, as usual, but something else happened. There was a restriction. We only had 4 hours to make this video.
Oh, yeah.
And so there was no room for making mistakes. We had to make quick takes.
Yeah.
And making videos take a long time, especially this video had a lot of elements to it. And we had to talk a bit. We had to cover all subjects.
Yeah.
And so I've watched later and realised I was talking a million miles an hour, which caused the coffee and because of the time restriction.
Worked out well though.
It's a good video. It's very comprehensive, but there was a video I made prior to that, which Joseph saw before this. And I said to Joseph, I need a follow-up video. And he agreed to making it with me, and very eagerly. And I do appreciate that, because not everyone wants to make videos, and it's not that straightforward or easy. For me, in my workplace, I did many different things, as you've probably noticed through the different range of videos that I make. But I did do a workplace training course back in '99 under Hunter Douglas, Luxaflex. And so I was a qualified trainer. So doing YouTubing for me was very second nature. And I had done courses on public speaking. Now, am I a good public speaker? No, I'm unique, very different. And probably that's a good thing, because I like to know what I'm talking about. I like to explain things very well. Okay, and I don't want to be sugary and sweet. I want to be real. Okay, so when we made that video, we did the exercises. You corrected a couple of them.
Yep.
The big one for me, and it's still hard for me to do it. I said on video it's good, but I'm still struggling. It's when I'm walking through the water. So when you start hydrotherapy, every time you do a warm-up. So you go back and forward, sideways, both ways. And with my small pool, it's only 6 meters or thereabouts. I actually can't remember the size. Anyway, no, it's not 6 meters, it's 3 meters. It's 6 square meters. And so I have to go front and back just in one go. I'd prefer to do one long walk front and then one long walk backwards. So what Joseph told me, when I walk, when I put my right leg forward, I twist my body to the left.
That's correct.
And then I do the opposite. And so the twisting for me has been really a real issue, and it still is an issue.
Yep.
I'm still seized up a bit. So hopefully in time that'll get a bit easier, a bit better. But it has actually been the biggest thing that I got from that.
Yep.
Okay, and there were the other exercises, going up the ladder, you said, you engage the core more, push away from, that was important, but I found that. Now also one thing you told me with land-based exercises, which I started to incorporate, I did land-based exercises for 4 years through the Nepean Hospital, but when I walk upstairs, I would just walk up and feel the pain.
Yep.
Okay, what I was not doing was engaging my core. So I still feel the pain, but when I engage my core, it engages all the muscles around it, and I have more strength.
Yep.
So the pain is still there, but it's minimized, and it's good.
Yeah, and going upstairs, like, because your hamstrings were extremely weak, you were relying solely
On the front.
on your quads.
Yeah.
And then you were getting cramps.
Yes.
And now that we've activated the hamstrings more, do
Yeah.
you feel like that's reduced?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just...
I'm getting maximum out of the muscle that I've got.
Yeah.
I've got signal
Exactly.
to.
That's sharing the load.
Yeah.
Your legs are like springs. So
Yeah.
if you take one part of the spring out, every other part of the spring is going to take the load.
Yeah.
So it's just like trying to produce as much force as possible for
Yeah.
every movement. And that movement in the pool, people don't realise, but our bodies are linked from head to toe.
Yes.
And there's a sling that goes across your body front
Yeah.
and back.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important when you're walking to normalise it, to rotate your body
Yep.
through the water, and it really uses the whole sling
Sling,
at the
yeah.
front and back.
Wow. So it makes you go through the water easier. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it helps you to coordinate your muscles better.
Okay,
So
okay.
then, and when you're outside of the water, then you're able to try and recruit those muscles like in
Beautiful.
conjunction, with each other.
It's working.
Yeah,
You know, it's not perfect, but it's working.
yeah. It takes time as well.
You know, I've got a bit more percentage than I had before.
Yeah.
Remembering that I was at probably 70% recovery, roughly. It's a rough indicator. After the second stenosis, I dropped back a bit. And so I was really upset because I went down to probably 60%, and it was really upsetting.
Yeah.
Thinking, I thought to myself, and I said on video, that I thought I was going to continue deteriorating. And so by the time I got into my 60s, 70s, I thought I was going to be, probably in a wheelchair. You've given me hope.
Well, it's definitely not the only solution.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
Definitely.
so land-based exercises were definitely something I should have done, and that's where I've made the big mistake. I did not do any land-based exercises. Sorry if I didn't explain that properly and I digressed a bit. So, land-based exercises are important, but as George said, the hydro pool is definitely the winner, but you need to supplement. It is a supplement.
I'll just say this on the hydro, just from more from a therapeutic, but also from a mental perspective. Is I walked into these hydrotherapy sessions knowing that I would walk out mentally on a high.
Yeah.
Because I knew that it was working.
Yeah.
So every session I would go through, I'm actually making so much progress. And mentally, it actually activated a sense of that it's doing what it's doing. I've got a couple of comments if it's okay to go straight. Yeah. So from Anthony English, he's just saying, "Hey guys, just want to say," referring to you, Musa, that obviously on your operation and hope went well. But he goes, "Also, your videos are getting better as we go, Musa. So many different interesting topics." So thank you, Anthony. Thanks for the comment. Thanks for
Thank you,
listening through.
Anthony. And I appreciate your support, Anthony. So Anthony and I talk a lot. We support each other, really. Because I feel like I owe him something. He really has helped me a lot. And Anthony's a great guy. And anyway, so yes, Anthony's channel. I actually might put a link in the description. I've said Anthony a few times now, and people are very interested. I'll put a link in for Anthony's got a couple of different YouTube channels. One on the a couple on the Amazon influencers, and also on the high tech. But there's also a channel on. I can't remember what he called it, and Anthony might be able to correct me. But it's about improving yourself. And some of the things you can do to better your skills in your home and in your workplace. So Anthony might be able to tell me that, maybe if he's still listening. So I want to ask you, Joseph, when we were making the video, just personally, how did you find it? Were you a little worried about the build-up and also to the video?
Well, the thing is, I love my job so much, and coming and talking about what I love, it was great, and I thought the experience was really good and really professional. So if anyone wants to make a video with me, you won't be disappointed.
There's no shortcuts.
Yeah, no shortcuts.
Oh, yeah, there's no That's so funny. Okay, so now I'm going to change the subject completely because George has now pushed me to do it. Okay, so recently, just last week, I released a video how to make donuts.
Love it.
And I already made one prior using Barkel's Donut Mix, which is a Dutch company. But this time I was using an Australian New Zealand company, and their name is Maori. Actually, I think it's just called Maori. Anyway, so they make a donut mix. I wanted to try a different brand because it was easier to get. And also I tried a different cottonseed oil, and it turned out fantastic. It was really a great video. It was quick for me to make. I need to make a few quick ones at the moment because after making the video with Eugene, bathroom renovation, it took all up 9 weeks. 9 weeks to make that video, the ensuite video.
2 parts.
4 weeks to actually make it, and then 5 weeks to edit it. It was so big. Anyway, so I needed a couple of quick videos. Now, I like to do outros. I've got the music on the outro, and the music is by my son Michael, who is a genius at playing guitars and plays other instruments as well. And so one day I asked Michael, I'm going to digress a little bit. One day I asked Michael to make me a couple of sounds for the for YouTubing, and over the weekend he came up with 7 tunes, and those tunes I use today in the fast play, in the time lapse, the intro, the outro. Anyway, so when I do outros, there's nice music there, and I like to put something interesting in there. That's something is happening after the video. And so I had rung George that day earlier when I made the video, which is a Tuesday, and we had a parent-teacher night at our daughter's school, and our daughter one of them is in year 12. And so anyway, George said, yeah, or Chicken Nugget said, yeah, I'll do it. And then I rang Joseph Nakhoul, and he said, yeah, I'll do it. So I prepared them. So when we got there, when we had the supper after we spoke to the teachers, then we'll make this quick video. Anyway, so I brought my equipment, brought the donuts, but I was a little bit late. And someone didn't tell me they had a date with their wife.
I was in trouble.
So when George says that there's no shortcuts, he means it. Okay, so he's messaging me, so come on, hurry up. And I'm still talking to the teachers. This is year 12, final year of school, a lot to talk about. Anyway, I didn't know there was a restriction. So I got there, and the food has already been eaten to the most part. And there wasn't that many people there. And I had to quickly go to the car, get the donuts, get the equipment. And George is there getting a little anxious. He's still smiling, but just a little anxious because his wife was standing next to him. Anyway, and he promised to take her to a nice little ice cream parlour. Yeah. And anyway, the day before Valentine's, and because the Wednesday was Ash Wednesday, which is the day we start fasting or abstinence. So anyway, George is there pushing me, and we start doing the video, and George. There was a bit of overacting, okay, and I didn't like it. I thought, that's not going to look good. Anyway, so and so I got him to do it again and again. And George is in a hurry. There was no shortcuts. and then anyway, so I said, okay, guys, that's enough. Okay, let it go. Okay, so then I put the food down, the donuts. And the guys, I went to the table with the camera, and then I said, okay, guys, come. And they start coming. And George is the first one. He's gorging himself. Actually, Joseph got there before you.
Yeah, he pushed me out.
Yeah. But George is the first one gorging himself. It was funny.
Loved it.
So it was hard for me to get other people to come into the video. People get very shy. Anyway, so I went to my wife and I said, I need some girls in the video. Anyway, so she brought a friend and they both went in and tasted a donut. And then I asked another friend and she's, yeah, okay. So she's there and she's going like this. And then another couple said, oh, yeah, I'll do it. And then once everyone started eating the donuts, because there wasn't much other food there, I thought, wow, these are nice. They're demolishing the donuts. Anyway, so it was quite interesting, and it was a good night. So what I did earlier today is just set up a video, just showing you just some of it, which is from the outro. Actually, I just took it from the outro without having the words, the credits in there. So I'm going to quickly run it now. And just to embarrass George a little bit, if he doesn't mind.
I love it.
So unfortunately, there's something wrong with my computer, and I think the video is a bit shaky. So I do apologise. I'm going to run it now. Okay. So now I've got the sound still on. I'm going to talk through it. There's Joseph, first one to grab one. There's George, and a close up. He's gorging himself, and there's Sal Min, and a few others. There's David. These guys have all been on video with me, and then I think there's my wife and a friend. There's a thumbs up, and there's Herb with his nice little plat. Anyway, so let me get back out of that. There we go. Anyway, that worked really well. That video worked well. During the day, I had some trouble with it. Anyway, so just to explain, George, thanks very much for your dedication.
No, you did all the hard work. You got the donuts. I was first to steal them.
That was funny.
It was actually, donuts were really good.
They were nice, eh?
Yeah, they were good. So
they were made probably What time was it? We ate at about 9:30, didn't we?
Yeah, it was late.
It was late, about 9 o'clock maybe. I can't remember.
And it was still good, nice
And I had made the video. I think I finished the video at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, something like that.
Wow.
So they weren't totally fresh. They were probably 5-6 hours old by that time. So anyway, it was good, fantastic. They taste beautiful.
Nice.
Sorry you missed out on that, Joseph.
I've tried them once though.
Yeah, you have.
One,
Yeah, and here I think.
At about 4.
Yeah, I think you've tried them before, but Anyway, so mate, it's, when I make videos, if I'm not happy with something, I'll just do it again and again and again. When we were making our video, I was under pressure and I drank too much coffee, so it just got to me, and my brain was I couldn't slow it down, and it was a good experience. It was a very good experience. Anyway, so some of the videos that are coming up. Actually, no, I'm going to talk about videos coming up. First of all, I'm going to talk about the ensuite video that I made, the renovating bathroom with Eugene. So we made that video. It took 4 weeks to make it. With my spinal condition, Eugene had to do pretty much nearly all the carrying. I did a lot of the work on video, but Eugene's behind the screen doing nearly everything. It's to make me look good on video, but in reality, Eugene had to do a lot. And anyway, so usually that kind of work would take me probably about a week and a half to do, but that video took 4 weeks, not only because we were filming, but because I had a lot of restrictions. And so I enjoyed making this video because it's been a long time since I've renovated a bathroom. I definitely can see how restricted I am now. I can definitely see it. The floor would normally take about 4 to 5 hours to tile, not including the hob, but that took me 3 days. It was a lot of work because I was on my knees and that position was quite difficult for me. So I had to do a lot of lying down in between takes. So and Eugene says that on video. I probably will have him on a live chat if he'll agree to come on, and just we can talk about all the ins and outs, how we made that video. There was a lot to it. It went on 18 full days of filming. Wow. 18. It was a lot of work. Anyway, so and the video I released before that was a very close friend of mine named Louis. And Louis is a tiler, professional tiler, and I had waited 1 year for him to come and make this video with me. And I was very happy because not only is he close to me, but he did an incredible job. But he was very happy too because the concrete was screeded by Jason the Concreter. I've said that in the video if you want to watch it. I have put a link below if you want to see those videos. So Jason the Concreter came and screeded, and I did all the formwork. So that's a video I made, formworking and concreting, and Jason did the screeding. What a screeding job. Usually when you're screeding, you'll have probably a difference about 20 mil up and down. There was very minimal height differences. He's just incredible. This guy is really conscientious, very good concreter, very good screeder, very accurate, and I love this guy. He's actually, and he's also born on the same day as Saint Jose Maria. So he's a great guy, but he's not a saint. But I'm sure he's trying to be. He does cook pasta for his wife and his family every Mondays. He's a really good guy. He's a really good guy. He's a big, chunky guy, making food for his family. He's just a real guy. Anyway, so that video was really good. I really liked it. I mean, that alfresco now is now functional as of we can use the whole area. It's not so if we dirty the floor. We don't have to get the gurney out anymore. We can just wop it and mop it down.
Well, we had a men's night about 2 to 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. We were making manouche. Dirt went everywhere. Next day, just washed it down. Beautiful, clean.
Tiles are nice and clean.
Beautiful.
It was a great setting.
So the next video that come up after that, which is I've got there stage 1, 2, 3 for the alfresco. The fourth stage is actually putting up a screen awning, a straight drop. It's called a zip screen awning, which is a straight drop. It comes down in channels, and what that does is actually protect you in wintertime and summertime, so from the heat and from the cold. Also, it reduces the bugs and everything coming in. So that's the next stage, and there are other stages coming up when I can afford it. So these are videos coming up. But now, videos that I've made and actually coming up, they're ready to go. They're both... one of them's uploaded. The other one is going to be edited and uploaded in the next few days. So I made another Cooper's video. So this one's Cooper's Canadian Blonde. And so anyone who enjoys a nice sweet beer, that is the beer for you. It's a great beer. I've made it a couple of times, and I had a taste just after I bottled it, and it tastes good even when it's green. So usually I leave the beer Cooper's beer for 2 or 3 months to really, to bring out the taste. Now, all their beers are GMO free, which is genetically modified organism free, and they make a beautiful beer and they have the best aftertaste.
Nice.
Now, what's interesting, a very close friend of mine in Melbourne, his brother, actually a really good friend of mine, we lived in Batemans Bay together, he was my neighbour. He had a boating accident and died 13 years ago. Now, my friend from Melbourne, Philip, has allowed me to talk about it. And so Sam made beer just before this accident, and that was 13 years ago, and it was a Cooper's Lager. Now, Philip rang me at just after Christmas and told me that he tried the 13-year-old beer.
Wow.
And now, no beers usually last more than a year, right? You can drink them, but it usually doesn't taste that good. So, 13-year-old beer, and it still tasted great. Wow, I was shocked. 13 years. Coopers have the best aftertaste. I've never heard that before. So I've got to contact Coopers. They're very busy at the moment, but I've got to contact them and ask them, is it, how can you say, physically okay to drink 13-year-old beer to make sure I don't get anyone sick, okay? But can I tell you, Phil said that the beer tastes beautiful. And we know it's a lager because Sam put an L on the bottle, so we know it's a lager. So that'll be a video I'm going to be making very soon. But the next video, as I said, will be Cooper's Canadian Blonde. Very sweet beer, very nice beer. To me, it tasted very similar to Mexican cerveza. So Mexican cerveza basically just means Mexican beer, which is made by Cooper's. Okay, now the last thing I want to talk about before we finish up, or the last video I want to talk about before we finish up, I made a video just yesterday. Okay, and so this one here is a pretty dirty subject and probably uncomfortable. Okay, but it's toilets. Now, a lot of people have toilets where the base looks dirty and you clean it with your brush, but it just doesn't clean and it looks unsightly, like you haven't cleaned it, right? And it's not only embarrassing, it's annoying because I like things to look good, right? And so I went and did research and found there was a paint that I can paint this over. Okay, and usually it happens from the ceramic or the product, people using bleaches and harsh chemicals, abrasive products, and they scar it and it damages it. Okay, so I found a paint to paint it. But then I thought, before I paint it, I'm going to try another product to clean it, to see, is it a calcium buildup? And to my surprise,
here we go.
CLR. Okay, this video will be released in 3 weeks, roughly.
I'll bring it close up. It's
a great product. You do a close up. And so this product does not have ammonia, does not have alcohol, bleach, or phosphate. Okay, so it is septic safe. Okay, so septic friendly. It's not going to be an issue using this on the toilet. Okay, or in the toilet. And so this is a 1-to-1 mix. So 1 part solution, 1 part warm water. And I read the instructions, followed it to the T, made the video. Now I clean the toilet, and it's not just for calcium, but it's also for lime scale. Okay, and also for rust. This thing can be used for many different things. Now it says on there you can't put it more than 2 minutes because it is corrosive. Even though it doesn't have all the other ingredients, it's still corrosive. So I used it, brushed it on video, and flushed it. Now the first flush, because I used such a large volume, the first one, I didn't need that much, it bubbled up. So you couldn't see what the result. But then I had to flush it a couple more times, and it looked cleaner.
Wow.
Okay, now it says on here you can do it up to 5 times. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to follow the instructions completely. I did it 3 more times, not 4, 3 more times. So 4 times all up, not 5. By the time I did my last one, it was back to brand new. I was shocked. This product actually works. Shocked. And it's not that expensive. I can't believe it. So this is an Australian product as far as I understand. It is bottled in Australia. It is an Australian company, I understand. It says here Australian made. So I haven't looked into too much detail of the product. But anyway, so I will be releasing that video in 3 weeks. Now, for you who want to know more about it, I just realised now maybe I should have put a link in the description. So tomorrow, hopefully I'll get a bit of time and I'll put a link in there for you. So this is incredible. Now, I made this video not knowing I was going to use this product, but on the back of a friend of ours who had a problem with their toilet, and ours was bad. And I know I've been to many homes over the years when I did blinds and awnings, selling blinds and awnings, and you do have to use people's toilets sometimes. You know, you're on the road, and there were some pretty ugly toilets, and I just always thought that they didn't clean their toilet until one day it happened to mine. Okay, and so. And I realised there was just a calcium build-up and lime scale, and so it worked beautifully. Anyway, very great product. And I'll just put that away. Okay, so guys, tell me anything else. How's life, Joseph? You got 4 kids.
4 kids.
I wanted to talk about it earlier. Your youngest, your baby.
Gianna's 5 months.
5 months. Wow, that time has flown.
Our eldest Pio is 6 years.
Wow, and they're both going to the school of our daughters.
The 2 older ones.
Yeah.
Kindy and year 1.
Yeah,
they're doing great.
Fantastic. So, George, how's everything going at home?
Going well. Just saying, time flies. We're talking
Yeah.
about how you wake up and it's almost March, and it feels like yesterday was Christmas, which was the last live show.
Yeah.
And how we, take every moment as we go and enjoy
Yeah,
those moments.
time's going fast. Our kids are going very, very quickly.
Too fast, growing
Yeah.
too fast, too tall.
Our youngest is in year 9 now, so she's turning 15 soon. And our eldest is 28, and so his wife is pregnant, and pray to God that everything goes well, and they're having number 3. Fantastic. Things go very quickly. The life goes very quick. So, guys, is there any other comments, George?
No, just Anthony English saying that he talks about the 4 weeks to make that ensuite video. So
Yep.
I think you're referring to something that you discussed earlier. So it was just more talking on the subject about the ensuite that you did.
Yep. And how about that videos or the ones that he didn't say?
No, he didn't reply. He didn't reply on those ones.
Yeah, that's
He
fine.
didn't reply on those.
I'll put the links below anyway for Anthony English. Okay, guys, it looks like I've spoken about everything I wanted to talk about. Is there anything you guys want to speak about?
No, just on behalf of Musa and obviously on behalf of Joseph. I said it before, but to have the physio live on our chat.
Yeah.
It's not every day, so quite honoured.
You're welcome.
And then so
Thanks for
appreciate
having
it.
Thank you.
Likewise
Thanks,
to
Joseph.
Musa.
Thanks a lot.
George,
you, guys.
thank you. You're a champion, eh?
God bless, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I hope you have a good Lent period. And so if you do have any questions, comments after the broadcast of this video, of this live chat, please leave them below and I will get back to you. Okay, guys, now just get ready for the outro. All right, so hopefully we'll have another live chat in about another probably 6 weeks, 8 weeks. I've got to tee it up. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to fall into place, but I'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.
See you guys.